imagination to come alive and to battle with the creatures of Dungeons and Dragons.
Alright, hey guys, and welcome back, as this week I'm going to be taking a look at a toy line that of course everyone knows, and that's the world-famous Advanced Dungeons & Dragons by TSR Hobbies. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be taking a look at the board games or some of the more better-known figures like the articulated line of toys that came out, in the mid-'80s. But what I am going to be taking a look at is the original series of figures, which are the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monsters, Warriors, and Playsets line that came out in 1982. Now, this line is infamous for not being very well received, because a lot of people complain about the paint jobs not being, so great. They're not articulated, you can't move them, they're just hard plastic. Aside from some bendable figures that were released for the line, and there were only 11 figures in all that were released for this first wave. But I do think it's interesting because this is where the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons figures got their start. You did have a lot of interesting variations of figures, from these really cool skeletons of Sith army building figures, to brave knights, minotaurs, ancient pharaoh mummy sorcerers, and even these really cool, larger-than-life, bendable, ferocious monster figures that really brought the rest of your figures and playsets and anything you could imagine to life. So now let's take a look at some of the figures from this great and historic set of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons toys that I have in my collection.
Alright, hey guys, now let's take a look at some of the 1982 TSR Hobbies action figures that I have in my collection. Now, of course, TSR, being the huge Dungeons & Dragons conglomerate that everyone knows and loves, there's the main action figure line that most people think of. Of course, there are the role-playing games, there's the adventure books, you have the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons cartoon that would come along later. That's all stuff that I will definitely be doing reviews on in the future. But just for today, I will be taking a look at just the mainly the bendy and these hard plastic mold TSR figures that were released in 1982. Now, I will say up front, some of these figures have gotten a bad reputation because a lot of people, they don't like the coloration and the paint. A lot of times it can look a little blurry, it can look a little smudgy, not a lot of detail. I still think they're really fun. They're very, very larger-than-life figures, and they just have a really unique look to them. I mean, granted, there really isn't much posability to these figures at all, aside from a few ones that have the metal wires in them and that they're, bendable figures. The rest, you can't pose, but they still look nice. You can set them up in a nice, diorama or display, and they're just really cool, fun figures to look at. So let's take a look at the figures that I have in my Dungeons & Dragons, at least the, TSR 1982, the hard plastic mold line of figures. So first, let's take a look. It's kind of hard to know which ones are like evil and which ones are good. You can mix them up and mix and match. I don't think there's a hard line for some of them in the middle, but these are the ones that I kind of consider more of the evil, spooky monsters. This guy we have here, this is kind of like a sorcerer. There's not much information to go on, but his name is Lich. And he kind of looks like an evil, crazy, like Egyptian-type sorcerer. You can see he's holding an ankh there. So, I mean, I could be wrong. He could be a good sorcerer, maybe fending off evil spirits, but he just kind of looks, like a bad guy to me. He definitely looks like a mummy, because he's got the wraps here. I mean, could be mistaken. That could just be robes, but it definitely looks like, he's wearing some mummy wraps here. He has this garb that goes around the waistband, this purple silk velvet hood. He has this, I don't know what this is, but some other mystical item. Looks like a sling. There's a ball in there. It looks like so he's throwing a sling. He has like this pharaoh's sarcophagus mask. You can see that gold chin piece that's coming down there. and then the rest of his like cape or robe that wraps around the back, and he has the gauntlets here on his wrists. And I like, you know, the red eyes, so that's what makes me think that he's supposed to be a bad guy, you know, some evil resurrected mummy, you know, because of those red eyes, and you know, the Ankh being like the Egyptian, like, I don't know what that represents, but like key to the underworld or something. It definitely has you know, magical, mystical powers in Egyptian lore, and he's a very weird looking, but a very cool looking evil figure. So a lot of neat detail. I mean, you can definitely see up a little bit up closer, you know, that some of the paintwork, it is a little blurry. It's a little sloppy around the eyes and stuff, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I still think it's pretty cool, and I think he's a cool looking figure. So now let's take a look at this little troublesome trio we have here. And now these guys are really cool because I love their name. And these are called the Skeletons of Sith. So, you know, kind of like the Sith and like Star Wars, like the Sith Lords. That's what that immediately makes me think of here. And you have these two guys here, which are really neat. You know, they're your basic skeleton foot soldiers. They're exactly the same. So, you know, there's no difference to them except for, you know, maybe the paint's a little different, blotchy, worn in some areas here. But they have, you know, like their undead uniform. Got a little dagger or little dagger there, short sword or a long sword there. And you can see how the paint is like very globby, you know, kind of runs, the plastic's a little globby. So I think that's what most people really complain about. But I still think that it looks really good. You got the helmet there, the red eyes. The skull looks a little weird because you can't see the bottom part because of the clothing that drapes around the neck there. You got the shoulder armor. I like the skinny, bony arms poking through the armor. I think that looks really fun. You have your basic buckler shield on the back with the chainmail, quiver with some arrows in it, and you know, a lot of pretty good detail here, I think. I believe that's a quiver, or that just might be a holster for his sword. Hard to tell, but that I'd have to say that looks like a quiver to me. Then you got the little skull emblem on his belt. And these guys are fun because you can army build with these. And, you know, I just got these in a lot, like really cheap at a thrift store years ago. So, you know, it was just kind of the luck of the draw that I got two of them, you know, when I picked them up. And they're really fun to, they're really fun to group together. You guys have a little hard time standing when I spin them around. And then this is another guy. We got Sergeant Spear here. Looks like his spear's seen some better days, but some really super cool details on him. Like, you can really see his face. Great. He's got this pointed helmet. Like, look at that awesome shield with that red skull with the black detail. He's got the full chain armor, and he's got the you know, the gauntlets on his legs with the boots. You can see his bony foot protruding. And he's got his sword on the back. He's got an axe on the back. And this is a lot of great detail. Even if it's a little blobby, even if it's a little messy, I still think these are great figures. And they really look great. I mean, this guy especially, these are nice because they're paired together. But look at that skull. Man, that is so cool. And what an awesome looking figure. You can just like imagine him. He's like a pikeman or something, you know, and he's leading the charge out in front, you know, and these are your regular foot soldiers. So very fun. Really cool looking figures there. Now this is another one of my favorites too. It's kind of hard to say which one's my favorite because I just love all these goofy, crazy figures. And now this is one of the bendies, and this is the Deadly Grell Brain. Try saying that 5 times fast. And this guy is just crazy looking. It's like Krang, like with an octopus, and just really super imaginative. Got all these legs. How many legs does he have here? 2, 4, 6. He got 10 legs. And he's got this weird orange fin, almost like, you know, like a sea anemone or something that goes around goes around him, you know, his whole head there. The multicolored blotches on his brain. He looks sleepy. Look at the eyes. Like, he's getting ready to take a nap. And he's got like this, you know, giant sea octopus, that sharp claw mouth there, you know. And you can see underneath, you know, he's got this underbelly where he would get you, and you know, he'll just grab, burp, and just, you know, just grab you and eat you up. And see, he's got the bendable arms, which I know a lot of bendy toys people really hate because they're kind of, you know, they think they're cheap. But look at that, you can still stand him up, and you know, you can bend quite a few of his arms, and you can put them all in all these crazy positions, and have him, you know, go into attack whoever you want. So I kind of see him, I don't think he would be really evil. He's kind of like a neutral, and just like, you know, kind of like one of those things, like whatever side gets control over him, like it looks like he'd be so big and powerful, like that maybe he doesn't really take sides very often. But a really fun figure, and very, very imaginative. And now this is one of my absolute favorites, just because of the size, and this does have some really nice paintwork on it as well. And this is the Minotaur. So check him out. You got this big, gigantic silver and black axe. Some fantastic detail on the Minotaur head and the horns, with the teeth, the eyes. He has like this chain. I don't know what's attached to it. Looks like a part of his armor. And then he has this belt with the blue tunic and like this ogre face on the belt. He's got you know, his fur down by his hooves, some nice paintwork there. These great spiked bracers, his you know, claws and everything. Nothing too special going on the back, but I think what sells this is just the imposing pose. Just, you know, just ready to attack, and just, I'll smash you, stupid skeletons. You know, he just really looks like he is ready for battle. And very, very cool. What a cool and imposing looking figure. And now this is another interesting one. This is another one I can't tell if he's supposed to be like one of the good guys or one of the bad guys. He kind of has like that Attila the Hun look to him, like with his armor. You can see he's holding a bow and arrow there, and very, very strange, you know, armor. He's got this orange garb with this bronze armor. He's got the orange boots, and then he's got a shield with the tassels and the bronze plating all around. He's got a sword there on the side. Looks like he's standing on some rocks. You have that little detail there. He's holding his longbow. And now he's actually called one of the Sark mercenaries. So I'm not sure if he would be just like a third kind of like fighting force. Like he wouldn't be good or evil. He wouldn't really take sides. You know, they're just kind of in it for themselves. But a very interesting little figure. And yeah, neat. You know, you can barely see his face underneath of all that, all the armor and head gear that he's wearing, but very, very cool. And last but not least, now a lot of these, they don't have individual names. If you notice, like with this one, they're all just called Sark mercenaries. They don't have individual names, just like this one here. And he would be called one of the heroic men-at-arms. And you have the stalwart men-at-arms, and then you have the heroic men-at-arms. And now these are absolutely the good guys. You know, these are the guys that are going up against, you know, the skeletons of Sith. You know, no doubt about that there. And not a lot of detail, but what there is cool there. Like I like the helmet. You can see he's definitely, you know, ready for battle. He's got this flail, you know, this three-chain flail that he's wielding. He's got this like dragon emblem on his armor, and also on the knees there. So not too much detail. It's all silver, but you know, some good armor there, because you know he's a knight, obviously, of course. And then check out that shield on the back, that crazy dragon skull, and he's got this great robe, you know, with the with like the gold trim and black and you know, silverish trim on there. So not a lot of detail, but I think what's there is really good, and I think he looks good. He looks good as, you know, just kind of your basics, you know, basic good guy knight to fight the forces of evil. So very cool, very cool. I think that he looks really good. And alright guys, that's going to do it for my look at the TSR Hobbies 1982 line of the hard plastic and bendy action figures. I know they don't really get a lot of love out there because people think they're cheap. Like I said, the paint looks kind of cheap. You know, you can't move them, they're not articulated. But I think they're fun to display, and I guess it just all depends if that's your thing. If this is something you like to collect, or if it's something that doesn't interest you, well, you know, maybe it's not up your alley. But I definitely think they're fun. I definitely think that they're, you know, a niche part of like toy collecting and the hobby, and I just think they're an interesting line of toys. And like I said, I have a lot more Dungeons & Dragons stuff that I will be reviewing later on, so thanks for tuning in, and until then, I will see you next time.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time.